Buckingham Palace is one of the world's great landmarks, a magnet for thousands of tourists who gather at its gates to get a glimpse of the house where the Queen lives. But it's not just a home or even a museum. It's a fully working palace where 350 staff call the Queen their boss. Since the reign of Victoria, Buckingham Palace has been the nerve centre of the British monarchy. The Queen spends more time here than anywhere. It's from here that she directs the business of the royal family. We will see royalty at work and also follow the team who keeps it all going. For the monarchy, this is headquarters. The public side of royalty is ceremonies and walkabouts, but the real business of monarchy happens here at the palace. The 9 a.m. bagpipes, a tradition stretching back to Victoria, and a signal for the Queen that her working day has begun. Two hours later, the Queen's private secretary arrives to tackle the royal in-tray.
What's that bearded lady? Yes, it's a ridiculous chair, this for this.
At this meeting, parliamentary papers are signed, appointments confirmed, and schedules and speeches approved.
If you wanted to go through.
She may be primarily a figurehead.
That was last night's report from Parliament.
But the Queen remains a well-informed one.
I was rather intrigued by this.
Oh yes, the estuary.
Southern Estuary Barrage scheme. Do you know anything about it? I mean, have you got any?
I can get some.
It says it could generate 5% of our electricity supply, which sounds quite useful.
Well, yes, but I'll get some briefing then.
This is the new bill.
Oh yes, yeah, I saw that going out.
Transport.
Yeah. And they just want your consent to...
They seem to have taken rather a long time here, don't they?
Yes, ma'am. Did you hear on the news, ma'am, Virgin Trains have
Yes.
got the biodiesel? That's just a note on where we are with the Royal Train going to biodiesel. And you'll see they're starting a trial. Quite expensive.
Very.
And
they might get us to the West Country.
Well, if it works, that'll be the first time they use it. Yes,
with one helicopter at the disposal of the royal family, it's up to the Queen to decide who gets it and when. She likes to monitor everything.
A helicopter.
That's the Duke of Gloucester going to Shropshire, which is... I mean, I can see why he needs a helicopter.
Gosh, school?
Yeah, he's got a busy programme.
Oh, District Hospital, yes, of course, he can have a helicopter.
Is that all right, ma'am? Can I give you your approval?
It's not a day we're using it. Or Anne's using it.
Ma'am, there's one signing. It's the
Prime Minister of the Cook Islands.
Cook Islands representative. We'll get the originals through, but we'll fax these back.
What would one do without a fax?
The Queen remains head of state in 16 countries, most of them former colonies. And Buckingham Palace is the HQ not only of the British Crown, but of a monarchy that spans the globe. Meeting today in the palace's centre room are the Governors-General of the Commonwealth countries that still call Elizabeth Windsor their Queen.
And can I just have Antigua and Barbuda here, please, first? And then Barbados, please. So Clifford. Grenada next, please.
As representatives of the Queen, these men and women perform the duties of a constitutional monarch on her behalf. With territories stretching from Canada to the Cook Islands, it's not often that the Queen can meet her Governors-General. There are many demands on her time.
Well, I can't go everywhere, and I can't do everything. I'm getting slower and older.
Yesterday, the Queen and the Lord Mayor of London attended a lunch at the Guildhall.
I've never seen anybody change quicker out of his velvet suit. Because it must have been very hot yesterday to wear velvet, I thought.
Cooked by celebrity chefs, the meal included a fish course of turbot with cockles and oxtail.
And then we had this ridiculous lunch with all the funny food. You see, I don't like mixing things. So there was a little bit on each plate, mustard and fish. And then the Lord Mayor ruined everything because I particularly took the sauce without the cockles. And he said to me, "But you haven't taken the cockles." "Here, I got enough sauce, thank you." I didn't like cockles.
That was a successful lunch.
Well, it went very well.
The Queen never voices whatever political opinions she may have, but her commitment to the Commonwealth is well known. She's dedicated her life to the service of this loose association of former British colonies. Today, representatives of one of those, Ghana, are coming to discuss the state visit of President Kufuor. He and his wife will be staying with the Queen at Buckingham Palace.
The Queen then leads the President up the staircase and around to the right in the direction of the suite, which will be theirs to occupy throughout the visit. If you'd like to follow Edward.
With 1 month to go, the President's team are going through the final details with the palace staff.
When you meet her, first of all, it's Your Majesty, and
Your
then,
Majesty.
and then ma'am.
Ma'am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your Majesty.
Ma'am.
Ma'am. All right.
Right, come on through.
Buckingham Palace functions very well as a venue for a state visit because really the layout of it and the room designs and the room sizes lend themselves very well to the different things that we put on whilst they're staying here. I think they always feel slightly shell-shocked when they arrive.
There will be many of us there to ensure that everybody is always escorted, so nobody will have an opportunity to get lost.
There is a lot of excitement in Ghana about it. And I'm sure that at the end of the visit, there'll be many questions asked of the President and also of the entourage about how it feels like to stay in Buckingham Palace. Yes.
We don't want our visitors to be surprised by anything that they're going to see on the day, and that they can go back to Ghana and brief their president on exactly what's going to happen. They can describe it on paper, that's one thing, but actually having seen it is quite another and makes it much easier.
Different set of steps.
One thing that's certainly occurred on every piece of the recce for this visit has been, if we are going to different floor levels in any building, including this one, is it possible for Mrs. Kufuor to use a lift? She's fairly all right on her feet, but she's not good with stairs. So we've had to actually go and find a lift at each point, which we've managed to do so far anyway.
After the lunch, then, the Queen will lead the President through into this room.
Royal etiquette can be rather unnerving, but the Queen's comptroller, Colonel Ford, is at hand to offer helpful pointers to the Ghanaian team.
Gifts.
But excuse me, our data protocol is he normally hands over the gift or the present to the President to present.
There is no handing over of gifts, it's simply a viewing.
They're really just on display.
These arrive in advance of the visit, I would suggest.
Yes.
And they're all laid out on a table, and it's simply a walk past. There's no actual giving.
Oh, I see.
It's a viewing. It's already
So
done.
at what point will we hand over the gifts?
It will come in advance.
To us, what would help us is if you're...
The visit marks the 50th anniversary of Ghana's independence from Britain. Behind all the ceremony, though, there's a serious diplomatic message.
The Queen is saying to us, to the President of Ghana, and to Ghanaians, keep it up. You're making it, and we're proud of you. That's how we see it. That's what it is. That's the significance of the visit.
In the blue?
Not necessarily.
Not. I think from here, we'd like to show you a sample of some of the bedrooms and the communications room on the principal floor.
Can I just add one thing? Can we avoid mobile telephones, avoid bringing in computers or laptops or anything like that here? So phones definitely switched off in here, or certainly on silent mode, and certainly no answering of phones during the course of the banquet. It is a formal occasion. The Queen is the host, and there's a certain dignity to this that we would wish to preserve.
During banquets, guests have been known to have conversations on their mobile phones.
And that's the lot.
The high point of the Ghanaian state visit will be the banquet in the palace ballroom. The yeoman of the cellars, Robert Large, is making sure his wines will be in perfect condition.
At present, the temperature is very, very cold, so it is necessary for the wine to be here for at least a week to reach a very comfortable room temperature, around 16 to 18 degrees. This is from government hospitality. Because it's a government function, state visit, it comes from their house, and so we don't have to pay for it.
Built in 1703 as part of the original Buckingham House, the cellars are the oldest part of the palace.
In the cellars, we have around 25,000 bottles of wine, so quite a lot. All our wine are very good quality wine, and the white Burgundy that we'll actually use for tomorrow for the banquet is one of the best white Burgundy in the world. So this is our oldest wine that we have in the cellars. We have a bottle of Buell, 1815. This will probably never be touched unless if it's a very, very, very special occasion.
And off we go.
Directly above the cellars, senior page Philip Rhodes is preparing the rooms for the Ghanaian visitors who will be arriving tomorrow.
Now here we are in the Marble Hall, which is part of the grand entrance of Buckingham Palace. And the Belgian suite, where the President and the First Lady are going to stay, is here overlooking the garden. And we're going into the sitting room, which is, we know it as the 18th century room. And we're going to set up his desk ready for his arrival. And let's have a look. It's nice to see the palace actually in all these bedrooms totally being used. I mean, everything is used.
Despite its 650 rooms, the palace only has 11 guest suites for the state visitors' senior staff.
So if we go up to the principal floor now and just have a look at how we're going to run the operation, then that would be great.
President Kufuor's closest aides will stay here on the principal floor. The rest will be in nearby hotels.
How are you? Each one of the guests that stay will have one of our footmen to actually valet for them. The footman that's going to look after them will actually unpack, putting all their clothes away. We press everything, so their suits are pressed, their shirts are pressed, their ties are put away all in a certain way. If we can make anything easier for them, we do it.
There will be 169 guests at the banquet in the palace ballroom. When it was built in 1854, the 7,500 square foot ballroom was the largest room in London. For each visit, Royal Headquarters produces a manual that contains a schedule and a guide to protocol.
What we've got is the ceremonial, we call it, which is the programme for the visit itself, which contains all the detail, all the timings for the entire time he's here, from the moment of arrival to moment of departure. So, for example, on Tuesday at 5:50, he's called at Buckingham Palace by the Leader of the Opposition. Then it gives you a page reference number, turn to page 52, and it's got the visit by the Leader of the Opposition in full detail. And everybody has a copy of this, all the Ghanaians have a copy, so we all work from the same book. We've always had a book, going right the way back to, there you have, for example, Saudi Arabia 1967. Slightly different format, but not vastly different, because we found that it just tells people what they need to know. There they are, state visit of the King Faisal of Saudi Arabia in May 1967. Tuesday the 9th of May, arrival at Heathrow Airport, London North. So they were written in a similar format, day by day, so that you could easily follow the week.
For Britain's Ghanaian community, the state visit means party time. Big crowds have turned out to see the formal public welcome.
Thank you so much, the Queen, for inviting all of us to England.
And I have wanted to see the Queen since I was a young girl, and I've come to London.
One of the earliest visits by a British monarch took place in 1520, when Henry VIII visited the King of France to sign a treaty of peace. The visit lasted 3 weeks and famously included wrestling bouts between the two monarchs. That's no longer obligatory. Nowadays, these occasions are all about atmosphere and goodwill, not political haggling.
This shows that Ghana and Britain are cooperating, and in fact, Ghana is actually taking its rightful place in the Committee of Nations.
It brings harmony between the two countries. God save the Queen, God save our president.
The Queen has made us so proud. She's a wonderful woman, and we are all behind her.
In the palace kitchens, royal chef Mark Flanagan is supervising the arrival lunch.
John, that's going to have to come down quite a way. There's still a lot of water to come out of that, yeah? These are all the fruit plates which will go up onto the arrival lunch. You know, the guys take a lot of care. Every piece of fruit's polished, every leaf is polished. Then, of course, we've got the worry that the china is irreplaceable. So it's a bit of a nervy job, and we try not to let the youngsters do that one, just in case.
Her Majesty the Queen and her government are quite modern. They may use traditional trappings, all right, riding in a horse-drawn coach and all that. But there must be real meaning to the invitation in terms of socio-economic development for Ghana.
They'll be looking after you, yeah?
The welcome ceremony ends with gifts. The Queen honours President Kafur with one of her highest orders of chivalry.
For the bath and the collar. All nice to be able to give you that. And I'm afraid there's always a photograph to add to it.
Going to cherish it.
And this is a sort of, this is for you yourselves. Which you might be able to do some toasts in or something.
I'll be tempted.
Everyone expects the palace to be perfect, not least the staff themselves.
You can never be good enough. There's always a margin for improvement. These shoes are virtually brand new, so they don't produce a good shine yet, because the polish hasn't built up in layers yet. So for the moment, this will be my number 2 shoes, and then for this afternoon, I'll wear my number 1s. It's been going for a couple of years now. Because it's such a long day, and you're on your feet for virtually 14 hours a day.
The palace recruits its footmen largely from the hospitality industry, so they're used to being on the move all day.
Your shoes, because it's leather shoes, they tend to absorb quite a lot of the moisture, so to speak. And by the time you do a state visit, after you've done almost 8 hours on your feet, it's always better to change into a fresh pair of shoes. It makes you feel better already.
The yeoman of the cellars, Robert Large, likes his wines to enter the spirit of the occasion.
Sometimes you have the singing noise, and when you actually open a wine and it start doing this noise, all right, you know that the wine is actually going to be happy wine and it's going to be a good wine. This is what the sommelier believe anyway. Here you go. That is the singing noise. So this is a happy port. I think Her Majesty is coming very soon. She should be due to review the table at 6 o'clock, so she should be around very shortly.
All pretty colours for you.
Retired staff are often called back to help with the larger banquets.
It's much closer, compact them.
Closer?
Yeah, compact them so they don't take much space.
Sometimes they can be a little rusty.
The Queen likes us to be here when she comes up, because if there is anything wrong or any problems, we are here to solve it as quick as we can.
Well, it was very impressive.
Well, it was very worrying.
Much fun. Well, beating out the full decoration.
Did you manage to find all the roses? Those are specialised, the ones in the...
The big one, they're scented as well, very slightly, not over-scented.
That's right. That's very nice. So I don't know whether they have lots of flowers. They have these very...
I think they have the exotic flowers. We tried to discover in case there was a flower of Ghana, but we couldn't find out. So we think it's things like strelitzias and ginger flowers.
Yes, I think...
Because I think it's so hot out there.
Yes, I think so. So that doesn't work here.
No, unfortunately, no, not at all.
The boss's eye for detail keeps the staff on their toes. At the back of the ballroom, she's noticed a new experiment with the lighting.
What are those different, those new ones?
We got these last November for the diplomatic reception, Mom.
Ah.
I can light this one up if you want to have a look. See.
And they're off the main seat, are they?
No, it's battery.
Batteries?
Yeah,
Oh, they look very nice.
Charge up. 4 hours.
Well, that's 4 hours I'll do that.
4 hours.
Well, hopefully we won't be here for 4 hours.
I hope not.
Start playing? Yeah.
Can I have the pages down this end, please? OK, gentlemen, can I just start by saying, when the menus go on the table, can you make sure that nobody takes the menus off, either before or after service?
Now, the first course is fish, which is served with a white wine sauce. But if one of the guests should suddenly elect to become a vegetarian tonight, we do have a vegetarian course.
When the pudding is served, you pour the champagne. But before you do that, you bring the pudding champagne forward, where your toast champagne was.
The first light you'll see will be a blue light. And that light means take your place at the start of your service. And then on the green light, then you all lay your plates.
Now, on all the services, you will have a small salver. Use this salver to remove your glasses. I don't want 2 or 3 glasses on the tray. I just want 1 or 2 maximum.
Now, has anyone got any questions? It's important from my point of view that you know what you're doing tonight, OK? Don't be nervous and enjoy yourself.
The government has approved tonight's guest list, but the palace sets the dress code. White tie, national dress or uniforms for men, ladies wear long.
I was a little sceptical because my au pair took the call. He's male and Swedish, and he's kind of casual, laid back, and he didn't believe it was the palace, and so he joked with them. In fact, he's hoping if Miss Winpenny is watching this, he apologises.
The Duke of Edinburgh is going down to collect the Ghanaian president and his wife from their suite on the ground floor. He'll then bring them up to meet the guests in the state apartments. But he has a problem. Ghana's First Lady needs the lift, and it's broken.
Delay.
The hold-up is starting to concern the staff and the host.
What a light one is. Sorry.
The Duke has the solution.
Staff lift. Hey.
They're coming up in the luggage lift now.
Yeah.
By tradition, the housemaids are the first to greet the state visitors. Prince Philip and his guests have quickly forgotten about the lift, as the Duke soldiers on.
They look after the house. I mean, they're not going to do a song and dance for you.
Next, the Duke introduces the guests to members of the royal family.
Very nice to see you.
The delay with the lift is good news down in the kitchens. Dinner is not quite ready.
Running about 18.5 minutes late, so we've lucked out. I'm telling you now, we had this one right. They were running about 20 minutes behind time, which, to be perfectly honest, suited us just great. You see that lamb that's sat there on the right-hand side? It's just going cold. We're going to have to put it through the oven for longer. Let's get it up there, keep it hot. Yeah? Upstairs for thinking, downstairs for dancing. Come on. React, guys. I want all the garnishes up.
Mr. and Mrs. David Cameron. Mr. Hugh Brushy and Miss Anika Santro. The Prime Minister and Mrs. Tony Blair.
I know when visiting heads of state come to this country and they have one of these magnificent banquets at Buckingham Palace, you know, if you said to them, well, we'll scrap all that and we'll go down to the local bistro or we'll have you in Downing Street even for a dinner, I mean, it wouldn't be the same to them. They love the fact that they're there in Buckingham Palace with the Queen of the United Kingdom and, you know, the royal family in what is a very, at one level, of course, a very old-fashioned, almost piece of theatre, but it's great. People love it, and why not?
More tomatoes? Yeah. OK, we're starting now, yeah? Lovely. Let's rock and roll. Mark, can I help? Thanks very much. Cheers. OK, guys. President of Ghana's just starting his speech now.
I'm grateful to Your Majesty for your kind invitation to me and my wife, Eliza, to pay a state visit to the United Kingdom. Ghana is also proud, Your Majesty.
Let's go. Come on, the last one's the best ones, yeah? Yeah. The President's still speaking, and we've finished, so we're good for time. We were lucky they were late, and it always pans out that way, and make it by the skin of your teeth.
Okay? And don't forget, don't wait for a straggling plate.
It was actually quite relaxed, quite enjoyable. They are brisk eaters in the royal family, I think, because, you know, if you left your food in the plate, somebody whipped it away. So I saw my neighbour's plate being taken, and I was thinking, it was quite tasty food as well. You know, it was well cooked. And I was sitting next to one of the ladies in waiting who said the immortal words, "The food always tastes cold when it's on gold plate." So,
you just relax for a few minutes.
North or south of the border, the Queen favours Scottish after-dinner entertainment.
Well, traditionally, the pipers provide the final entertainment on the evening. Tonight, we've got 12 pipers from the 1st Battalion Scots Guards, and they will play a medley of tunes round the table for the Queen and all the guests.
it's been interesting getting one or two insights into the views of the inner household about things like the pipers. When they trooped in, I had this groan saying, "Oh no, here come the bloody pipers."
The palace hosts another state ritual, the investiture. Each year, over 2,000 people receive an honour. Most are nominated by the government, but it's the Queen or her family who present these awards, which recognise and reward achievement in all walks of life. Coordinated by the Central Chancery, the Queen's medal team is based at nearby St James's Palace, where Jeremy Bagwell-Purifoy is the insignia clerk.
In here is basically a year's worth of insignia, from terribly expensive stuff, which is used very rarely, to things like MBEs and OBEs, which we probably get through a couple of thousand a year. Here's a cupboard full of MBEs. Get the box open. So that's an MBE. Basically, when we start getting ready for investitures, I go through the programme, see what we need, and it all comes out, sits on that table. It goes upstairs bit by bit, gets cleaned, checked, comes back down here, where it stays until we take it across to Buckingham Palace, which we do the afternoon beforehand. OBEs, which are identical to MBEs, except they're gold, or they look gold. And they all have these hooks, so that when we come to the actual investiture, the Queen doesn't have to fiddle with the brooch fitting on the back. Each person, as they tip up at Buckingham Palace, will have a hook put onto the lapel of whatever they're wearing. So when the Queen comes on, all she has to do is drop that over the hook. Different grades of decoration get worn in different ways. So a man's CBE is actually worn around the neck. For practical reasons, if a lady turned up at an investiture wearing a large hat, you couldn't put that over her head. So a lady's CBE is on a bow and is worn as a brooch. Just to complicate matters, if you happen to be a lady in uniform, a police lady, you get a man's one. The Order of the British Empire, it's a level of achievement. The bottom is an MBE, then you go to an OBE, then you go to a CBE, and then you go to a KBE, which is a knighthood, which is like that. And in fact, there is going to be one presented on Wednesday. And the top level is a GBE, which is very, very rarely awarded. And this is the highest level of the Order of St Michael and St George, and that costs thousands. Handmade, hand-painted, enamelled, precious metal. An MBE and OBE is plated. That's solid. This is all pre-computerisation. Every person that got an award had an index card. There you go, John Winston Lennon. It tells us what he was, which was an ordinary MBE. He got it on the 12th of June 1965. He came to an investiture at Buckingham Palace on the 26th of October 1965. And on the 26th of November 1969, he returned it to us for various reasons.
There are some 20 of these investiture ceremonies each year at Buckingham Palace. The Queen regards them as one of the monarchy's most important duties.
1 CB Civil Division, 4 Ladies CB Civil, 1, 2, 3, 4. Queen's Volunteer Reserves Medal,
Star.
278. And 27.
This is the Queen's sword, which she uses at the start of the investiture to dub those that are becoming knights. It's the Queen's father's sword. So it's a significant sword. I normally do a set route on investiture mornings where I check all the rooms that are being used for the investiture. For example, the stall, the knighting stall, which is obviously very important at the start of the investiture, to small things like the Lord Chamberlain using red pencils to tick the names off. And I normally give him about 6, so he's got plenty of pencils and I don't go hunting for them. I have back here 2, again, which might seem very insignificant things, but phone there, which has rung in the middle of an investiture, so I normally make sure that's unplugged before we start. And I have 2 lights here. One's a red one and a green one, 2 buttons. And the director of music up in the gallery has the equivalent lights, which basically are, if we think the band are playing too loud or playing too soft, then the red light is to indicate to him that we need them to be a bit more quiet, and the green light is to play a bit louder. Needless to say, we never use the green light.
Do you always walk this fast?
I do, actually. Well, I do on investiture mornings, purely because I'm a bit struck for time. I'm the page of the chambers, which I suppose you could class me as a senior butler. So I'm a bit like a cross between a stage manager and a sergeant major, I suppose. Morning.
Morning.
We have the wheelchair machine. So just give it just a very small test. Well, I won't take it all the way to the top, but I affectionately call this our white knuckle ride.
Today's investiture will honour 100 people. Each is allowed 3 guests. Among the recipients is farmer George Hughes. He's getting the MBE for his services to the sheep industry.
I've been getting more and more nervous every day. And last night I wouldn't say a word.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's the unknown, isn't it? You've got to go up to receive it, and you hope you don't stumble or something. Those are the sort of things you think about.
So if I need a hanky, I shall call on you.
Don't worry.
Is that all right?
Absolutely fine.
When I opened the letter 6 weeks before, it's quite an impressive letter. It comes from 10 Downing Street, of course, and then all the invitations come from St James's Palace. So the postman gets very impressed.
Good morning, Stephen.
Stephen Marshall, the yeoman of the glass cellars, has spent 30 years working at the palace, so he knows the form. Today he's here as the Queen's guest to be appointed a member of the Royal Victorian Order.
I'm getting nervous now, yeah. Well, it's different being on the other side, coming through the doors, you know, and seeing the people you know talking to you, telling you where to go, basically. I don't like getting a Christmas present, you know, where you've got to do that little bit of a walk, let alone the long one I've got to do now, so. You think he'd have his own photographs, wouldn't you? We've already signed to say, yeah, go away.
Did you? Yes. The investiture actually starts at 11 o'clock this morning, conducted by the Queen, as you know. Now, what I'm going to do is just walk myself through the system that you're going to have to go through. Directly in front of you is Rear Admiral Colin Cook-Priest, gentleman usher to the Queen, who's your last safe port of call.
Usher, wait now, that's right.
But when you go up alongside Colin, please could you stop? And at that point, what are you waiting for? You're waiting for your surname to be called.
Dame Margaret Hindley for services to politics.
A conversation, you'll let it come to an end, handshake, please take it, and then reverse back. Please remember to reverse back the 2 or 3 paces it takes to get to the start point of that.
Mr. Stephen Gerrard.
I've never experienced names like this, yeah. A bit different. Excited, though.
Met the Queen?
No, first time. Looking forward to it.
The nearer it comes, the more emotional it gets.
What's going through your head?
So nervous.
Quite normal, everyone else is, don't worry.
The Royal Victorian Order, which Stephen Marshall is receiving, is in the Queen's personal gift. Most other orders are nominated by the state.
It's really good to see you today.
How are you?
How long have you been around?
30 years. 30 years.
I think this should almost be a second long service award.
Mr. George Hughes for services to the sheep industry in Wales.
Good morning, Your Majesty.
Very glad indeed to give you this.
That's very kind of you.
And you're working. You have your own business, do you?
Yes, a small farm now, semi-retired. Still keep the sheep, though.
You keep your sheep, do you?
Yes, I've got South Downs,
Have you?
which there's a flock at Sandringham until the war.
Yes, indeed.
That's right.
No animals now, sadly.
No.
But it's going well, is it? I'm doing all right. Farming's not easy.
It's not terribly easy, no, but we're struggling and getting away with it.
I'm glad to give you that.
That's it. We're done. One last thing to go away. The cushion.
Together.
And what a wonderful lady the Queen is.
See? Why'd you say that?
Are we having lunch together?
No one else could reduce me to what I feel at the moment.
The palace is vast. It takes a staff of 350 professionals to keep it going, but also some voluntary helpers. The job of dealing with the 27,000 letters sent personally to the Queen each year is handled by her ladies-in-waiting, unpaid royal companions.
Saturday is your special day. It is your birthday. It doesn't quite scan, does it? May the sun shine bright from morning till night. Here's to many, many more. From Katie Barton. I think that's rather dear. Nice. Do you think it's the trouble these children take? It's terribly nice. Katie will be told that the Queen was very touched by her poem and thought it was very nice of her to write. And thanked her for her good wishes. Every single one will be answered. All the rather significant ones like that we will put on the system because they might well write again. And then you don't repeat the letter either, which is very important.
I think she likes people to feel they've had a personal reply. And even if it is one removed from the Queen.
Write to her.
Yes.
The least, really, that we can do, or the Queen feels that she can do, is to write back personally. They're her letters.
Yes, that's quite true. And so we're trying to write back for the Queen.
Some birthday cards play, as you open them, they play, "Happy birthday to you," and you can't think where it's coming from. There's a chorus of happy birthdays going on around the room, and of course it's the card in your hand. So we learned how to break it, because every time you looked at it to get the address and so. The Queen said that the corgis were mad when she opened them.
Nursery school children used to do a lot of big cards with macaroni and pasta stuck on, and by the time they got to us, quite a lot of the pasta was off and loose.
The three ladies-in-waiting on duty today have more than 90 years of experience between them.
One gets a sort of terrible flow of nice, kind, polite things to say to people without actually committing yourself too much that, you know, so pleased to hear about this and, you know, delighted to know that. And a very good line about the Queen is very touched by your kind thoughts, which covers an awful lot without saying, you know, no, she won't. And a lot of children are very kind. They ask her to their birthday parties. Quite a few people have taken to asking her to their weddings.
Since the opening of the palace, a lot of people write in to say how much they've enjoyed their visit and how nice it was of the Queen to let them come round their house. And they all get a reply, because that's very nice to say thank you.
When the Queen goes to Balmoral for her Highland break, the palace state apartments are opened to the public.
Every year for summer opening, the Royal Collection plans a special exhibition in the Ball Supper Room, which this year is 80 dresses for 80 years and a display of jewellery. So it's 80 evening dresses worn by the Queen for state and official functions.
The show can't open without the Queen's approval.
Embroidery one more. And they weigh a ton, too.
I'm sure they do, man. That one must be quite... It's difficult to see how one would think oneself, of seeing oneself 80 times over, things that carry lots of memories with them, really. I think she was intrigued to see it, as I think everyone will be, actually.
The Queen's wardrobes have been stripped bare of her gowns, many the creations of her favourite designers, Norman Hartnell and Hardy Amies.
They're 80, yeah?
Yes.
Oh, one of the cupboards are empty.
I think you've got them right, more or less.
What, to where they were worn?
Where they were worn, where they were made. But there are one or two
It's not
gaps.
very difficult to say, show where they were made.
Well, for which they were made, rather. Yes.
Yeah.
And just through here, we've got, just as usual, the insignia display, but this time it's...
Next door to the dresses, the Queen's orders and decorations are on show.
That's presumably a sort of Maori pattern, is
Yeah.
it?
The Queen, like her father and grandfather, has always been a stickler for the fine details of royal insignia and uniforms.
Mimosa.
No, the man who made it.
She sets a high standard for everyone else to match.
Not Benny.
No, he's not Australian.
But an Australian maker.
No, it's the Australian. It's called Stuart.
Is it on the back of it? Have a look. See if it's pinned.
Oh, I should think so.
A last note.
Is that all its attachment? It's two pins.
Yes, ma'am.
It's the most magic thing, isn't it?
It twiddles round.
She stuck it or something.
No, there are two little clips, ma'am.
No other? But it swivels.
It swivels, yes. Why does it swivel now?
Because it's got a double.
It's garter on one side.
That's garter on one side. You see, and
Yes.
And it's got the thistle on the other. It's a man's ribbon, isn't it?
It is, ma'am.
Doesn't matter.
Well, we have one of your Majesty's, if a rather smaller one.
No, I don't.
She has a very good eye, and she does notice when things aren't right. And we have had occasion to change labels quite regularly, so it's always nice to have something picked up.
While the rest of the palace functions as normal, 400,000 people will pay to walk through the state apartments, raising £6 million towards maintaining the royal collection. The public were first admitted in 1993 in a new spirit of openness and economic pragmatism after the fire at Windsor Castle.
This has been kind of a lifelong dream for me.
Wow, it's lovely, you know? Look at that.
She's quite glamorous.
Yes, she is.
You know, because I just remember her more from the more recent years. And when I saw some of the pictures, she's beautiful, like a beauty queen.
Looks a bit like a bathrobe. No, I'm not keen on those. Very impractical. I mean, they're only worn once. I mean, that purple one there, to me, it's a very harsh colour, that. But maybe that's the way it goes. You've got to instantly know where she is.
I think I'd take that one in the centre with the coat matching.
Oh, no, I wouldn't. No, I'd take one of the champagne-coloured ones. Yeah, but there's one in there, it's hideous.
Right!
The most colourful event in the palace calendar will be the Queen's birthday parade in a month's time. Also known as Trooping the Colour, it's performed by the Household Division, the soldiers who guard the monarch.
What I want to quickly do, men, is just to give you an insight.
This year the Guards have a surprise for the Queen, a gun salute in the palace forecourt.
Well, historically, since Napoleonic times, a group of soldiers have celebrated a victory in battle by firing the feu de joie, a fire of joy.
For all the big parades, Garrison Sergeant Major Billy Mott takes charge.
The feu de joie has not been fired for a number of years. So basically we're here this morning to work with all the contingents that will be firing it in the forecourt of Buckingham Palace on the Queen's birthday parade.
Headdress! You're going to look good, aren't you? Her Majesty the Queen's going to be on the balcony. We'll spot you.
It's only the British Army that have adapted it. It has to be done with a little bit of style and a bit of dignity.
The feu de joie has been fired by the British Army in a ceremonial manner rather than on the streets like cowboys. So this is not the sort of occasion where I will tolerate the guardsmen, the professional element of an infantry force, to be thumb up, bum, mindly neutral.
And what will happen is the right-hand man will fire. He will fire, and then straight away we get a ripple effect. Right, and all the way down, no pissing about, right to the end. The parade will fire a feu de joie! Present!
This will be the first time during the Queen's reign that a feu de joie has been fired in her presence. To prevent a catastrophe, blanks will be used. The Royal Air Force will be on parade too, at 1,500 feet above the ground.
2, 1, hack. 1200 Zulu. Welcome to you all. For those that don't know me, I'm Group Captain Bob Judson. I am the station commander here, and it is my privilege to be the formation leader for this great event that we're putting on. What are we trying to do? We're trying to go over Buckingham Palace on Saturday, the 17th of June at 1200 Zulu. I say again, Zulu. It's a big formation. 40 seconds between elements at 280 knots when you start getting to the main body of the formation equates to 3 miles. The flypast on the same day as the Troop in the Colour represents the Royal Air Force's annual tribute to Her Majesty the Queen. This year is particularly special from the point of view it's much bigger than it has been in the recent past. It's 49 aircraft that will actually be overflying at the Palace, and that is one of the biggest ones we've done for many years. That is what it looks like. It's enormous. Oh, the planning stage of it's been going on for some 6 months. It involves a huge amount of coordination because a flypast such as this, which is nearly 24 miles long, will actually take a great deal of organisation, not only to put it together, but also to put it into the airspace that we're going into, which is all around London, the busiest airspace in the world in many ways. It's a real challenge.
Although her actual birthday is in April, the Queen's official birthday is in June, at the height of the season when the weather is better. Trooping the Colour is meant to underline the close bond between the Sovereign and the armed forces. The ceremony hasn't changed much over the years, but with the whole royal family travelling from the palace to Horse Guards Parade, it's always popular with the media. Every year, one of the 5 regiments of foot guards troops a regimental colour in front of the monarch.
Slow march!
The Queen will come back up here, having arrived back at the King's door.
Air Vice Marshal Christopher Harper is at the palace to keep the royal family up to date with the progress of the flypast.
Our flypast today is coming from all parts of the United Kingdom. It's going to form up as a formation over Southwold in Suffolk, and then it will set off on a path that essentially brings it to line up with the Mall some distance out, and it will overfly here at 1 o'clock exactly. Well, that's extremely good news. Is AOC1 Group in good heart and happy with the way everything's shaping up? He's chipper. I'm delighted. If he's chipper, I'm chipper. So, essentially, we have a flypast forming up over Southwold. The red arrows are, in 6 seconds' time, rolling at up Royal Air Force Scampton to join their place in the formation. The weather is fantastic. Frankly, at this stage, it's looking as good as it gets.
While the royal family are at Horse Guards Parade, the centre room is prepared for a drinks party for the extended Windsor clan.
Well, gin and Dubonnet, this what is Her Majesty drinks. We always have the ER glasses, and I put 1/3 of gin, 2/3 of Dubonnet. And normally goes just under the ER there. The sliced lemon, you always make sure there's no pips left in the slice, because the last things you want is to actually have a pip going up on top of the glass and swallow that. The pips is removed. Okay. We're always trying to choose very good shaped ice cubes, very square. Okay. That's not going to melt too fast. And it's always 2 pieces of ice cream which I normally put on the top with the sliced lemon underneath. It's only Her Majesty who drinks the gin Dubonnet, and no one else.
Thousands have turned up to see the Queen make her annual birthday appearance with the royal family on the balcony. Inside the palace, 25 members of the House of Windsor have dressed for the occasion.
Moving down in front of the crowd.
It is a wonderful, wonderful occasion, and it's done so well. So I remember so well when I was small, and I was always looking up at people with wonderful uniforms on, and breastplates and epaulets, and always wanting to pull swords out and so on. It's so funny to see it happening, in other generations, all wanting to do the same thing.
Charles, no.
It is a wonderful family occasion, but it's also a great, I think, day in the English summer.
Characteristically, the Queen is keeping an eye on everything, even the timing of the gun salute a mile away in Hyde Park.
It's going extremely well. The Battle of Britain Memorial Flight has just overflown Buckingham Palace, exactly on track, exactly on time.
I'm looking at the royal family. I'm trying to pick out who's there. The Queen, Prince Charles is in red. Camilla's missing because, of course, her father died, didn't he? And Harry is stood behind. Beatrice is next to the Queen.
Oh yeah, I see Harry.
Oh yeah, yeah.
As the climax to the parade, the Welsh Guards will perform their feu de joie. Over 2 centuries, Buckingham Palace has evolved into an office, a state guest house, a banqueting hall, a museum, and the principal platform for state events. It's the occupants, though, who draw the crowds. The real allure of this place is not the location or the art. It's the fact that this is a working palace and a royal home.